Welcome, everybody, to the first episode
Episode.
of The Shark Bite. I'm Georgia.
And I'm Libby.
And we're very excited to be speaking with you today.
So, George, why don't you tell everyone why we decided to start this podcast?
Of course, Libby. So we started this podcast as a bit of a hobby. This is, we've all been going through hard times in quarantine, and, it's definitely been, at least for me, it's been very hard because I have a lot of friends who are very far away because my college is far away. So we thought, this would be a great hobby to talk about things like our romance novels. We'll get to that later. Where we can, talk about our experiences, especially during this hard time, and have fun, honestly.
Yeah. So I would say that me and Georgia have recently had our 1-year friend anniversary, unofficial.
Oh my God, is it? Wait, is it a 1-year friend anniversary? Is it a 1-year friend anniversary?
I think so. I think we probably met the last week of August, first week of September.
Oh my God,
of last
I didn't
year.
even realize. What?
Well, that's when we officially met. Okay, so basically, we met our freshman year of college. We are now sophomores in college at Simmons University. #Go Sharks.
Whoop, whoop. If you can't tell by my stuff.
Yes. But I actually have this crazy memory, and I think it was Georgia, but I'm not sure if it was, that during an accepted students day, we were in like a panel. It's like a Q&A with past students, and this girl who was short and blonde, who was a nursing student, asked a question about minoring in psychology, and I swear to God, it was Georgia.
It was me!
I'm like pretty sure it was you, and I was like, okay, who's this girl who wants to be a nursing major and minor in psychology?
Nope, that was me. I was there. But we didn't officially meet until it was during orientation week. It was that panel that we had to go to in the gym.
Yes.
Where we all were like sectioned into like our class. Like the honors was like sectioned in one area.
Yeah, since me and Georgia are both smarties, we both got to sit next to each other.
I mean, also, the rest of our table, like, they didn't talk.
Yeah, it was very awkward, and like, I forget who started, but I think Georgia's like, okay, hi, I'm Georgia. I'm from Tenafly, New Jersey.
Just remember, Libby was sitting next to me, and we only talked to each other.
Yeah. And then I was like, oh, okay, I'll probably see her around. And then probably like a day later, or maybe it was the same day, I was sitting, my roommate was going out to eat somewhere, and so I didn't know who to sit with at dinner, and so I like sat with this girl who lived in my hall, and then named Emma, and then Georgia came over. She's like, hey, like we sat with each other earlier, can I sit with you for dinner? And then we talked about like Harry Potter and I think like books and stuff, and then
that was it. It was like, it's like the kindergarten, like, can I sit with you? Like, with your little food tray, like the food tray.
No, I feel like there's like a phenomenon where like you kind of like have to make friends for survival. And like, but those friends are the friends that are like, you get close to the most. Does that make sense?
No, I agree with you. I think that is a thing. So I had been sitting that week. I had either been sitting with my roommate, who then left like 2 days later, or I was sitting with a couple nursing majors that I had met at like, they were part of my orientation group, so I had been sitting with them. But I mean, they're very nice people. I still talk with them. But it was definitely like, I don't know, we weren't clicking as well as like, anything. And they weren't there for dinner, and I didn't know who to sit with, and I didn't want to sit alone, because I think I did that once, and I was kind of lonely. Like, your phone, earbuds, eating is just kind of lonely.
Yeah. And like, even though like it's good to be alone sometimes, I definitely think for anyone who's going to college, like, just sit next to someone. Like, you might have an instant connection, and it's good just to talk to people.
Yeah, it really is. I recommend, get out of your comfort zone. It might be the scariest thing you'll ever do, but I promise it's worth it. Because that was so scary for me at that moment. I didn't know, but I remember I had a really great conversation with you. And so I had to, I was like, I got to put on my big girl pants, and I have to go walk over, and I have to, say hello. And, look where we are now. We're making a podcast.
It was, I love it.
It was meant to be. It was meant to be.
I don't know. I would say, would you consider yourself the mom friend? I mean, you've said that before, but, would you consider yourself?
I don't know. I do think I'm definitely in a leadership role.
Oh, 100%, 100%.
I don't know if I'd say mom, because I feel like I have.
You are the alpha.
Yeah, I don't think I call mom. I think I go more I'm the alpha. Because I will admit I've done some very questionable decisions at times.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think...
You're not afraid to take some risks.
Yeah. That being said, I'm still afraid to do some. But, some things I'm you know what? Let's do it. You know what? Let's run across Brookline Ave. That's fine. Everyone else wants to go to the crosswalk. Not me. I'm going to run across while the cars are coming.
100%.
Yeah. No, I was just going to say, I don't think I think the mom would be wait till the crosswalk. I mean, Emma's literally held me back at times.
Mm-hmm.
Georgia, stop.
So we go to school in Boston, and we definitely miss city life.
Mm-hmm.
If you haven't noticed by the fact we like to run across the major streets. But I grew up with Boston being my big city, but Georgia grew up with New York City being her big city. So, the biggest city in America. So
yeah, it's kind of not to say, I never lived in the city. My town, Tenafly, is about, 30 minutes-ish outside the city. If you're really good, there's no traffic, and kind of speed your way on the highway. You can get in there in 15 minutes. That being said, I don't recommend it. But I live about probably 30 minutes into the city on a good day, which is it's been pretty nice. I get to go to Broadway. So,
I'm jealous.
I know. But Boston was definitely I knew I wanted a city school when I was applying. So I was very much content with Boston because it was not New York City.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Are you hearing a glitch?
I'm pretty sure that.
I don't know. I've been hearing
what does it sound like?
It's I don't know. There's a glitch going through on my headphones.
Testing.
No, it's not you. It's when I'm speaking.
Oh, I don't notice it.
Okay. Then it probably then won't show up on the recording. It might be my headphones. That's fine. We continue. I will cut that later.
I think Simmons was the only city school I applied to. Because, I was very content going to school in the woods, in the middle of nowhere. But I'm so glad I didn't, because I think the city has so many opportunities, so many fun things to do on the weekend. I mean, we love our thrifting.
Mm-hmm.
We love our going out to eat. And if you go to the school in the middle of, Vermont or, Maine or, upstate New York, you can't do that.
I mean, don't forget about Target. We wouldn't have
100%.
Target.
There were some days that we would literally go to Target twice. Once in the morning, once at night.
I think I've done a Target 3 times in one day, 3 Target trips with different people, and I ended up buying something at Target each time I went.
Georgia will shop till she drops.
Which is
would
bad.
Would we call her a fashionista? I think we would.
Mm-hmm. No, I just love shopping. I want to just buy everything, even though I know it's not a good idea. Save your money. But, I want stuff.
I think the reason why me and George are very connected is I feel even though I feel our families seem very similar. We grew up, I feel very similarly. We're both technically the older sister, and I feel we both have kind of the responsibility, and we're both practical.
Yeah, I would say that. I definitely think out of are friends. We're definitely, you know, we're very, I agree. Like, our energy is similar. I think, you know, you having, like, a sibling, even, like,
Mhm.
you know, even though Chloe's, like, how many minutes younger?
Yeah, so my sibling, her name's Chloe. She's only 10 minutes younger. So even though we're twins, I definitely feel like I am the older sister. But also, okay, I recently saw this interesting TikTok. Sorry to go on a sidetrack,
No, I
where
like
there
it.
was a set of identical twins, and they were saying how parents of twins should not say who's older because it creates like weird dynamics. And like, I guess that makes sense, but and I do feel like part of my identity, even though we are twins, is because I'm the older twin, I am the older sister. But I don't know if that would have changed if our parents were never like, oh, we're not gonna tell you who's older. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I have to admit, I don't know. I feel like maybe if like there was a I don't know. Like, I think maybe if they're like young kids, like 5 or 6,
Mhm.
maybe that could cause a weird power dynamic. I've seen that with a couple twins where they can like compete in like elementary school, but like I feel like by like an older age, you could tell them. I don't think they're gonna like. The only thing they do is like, I'm older by 10 minutes, like ha ha ha,
Yeah.
and then the kid would be like, who knows? Maybe I was conceived first. Like,
Yeah, and like also if it's a C-section, it changes things because isn't it like the baby on top would have been the baby on bottom or like
it's like a C-section is just whoever gets pulled out first. Like, it has nothing to do with like nature. It's just, all right, you're easier to pull out. You're going out first. Like,
I feel like one funny thing about our friendship is I feel like we talk about pregnancy and babies probably more than like the average like 19-year-olds. But I
oh,
also feel like that's because you are in nursing. And so like we just talk about that.
yeah, we could talk about, I mean, at least for me, I have not like a strange, I wouldn't call it a strange fascination, but like I'm definitely intrigued about the biology behind pregnancy and kids and babies. I mean, my goal is to be in the maternity ward, or if I really continue, be like a midwife. I mean, let's be real. My goal is to be a midwife for like the royal family, and then I get to
Oh,
like meet the royal. Like, that's
that
a
would be
weird.
perfect.
That's like a weird but attainable goal that I feel like I can create. Like, I'm not. I mean, my unrealistic goal is marrying a prince, but like, if I'm gonna do an attainable kind of like slightly probably could not happen, but like could be attainable. Like, could happen if I worked hard and like made it happen. I would be a midwife for, I mean, I don't know. I don't think Meghan Markle's gonna have a baby anytime soon. But like maybe for the next generation, I could be like, and like, because at that point I'd be an experienced midwife. So like I would probably most likely be in the room, like in my like I'm like 50, delivering a baby for like Prince George. Like, I'm helping his wife, and like I think it's attainable.
No, I definitely think it is. But so, like, would you basically like help them give birth and then like kidnap the baby and be like, "You gotta marry me, find a prince to marry me, and then I'll give back the baby," and that's how you become a princess?
No, I would just do it and then know that I helped the next generation. That's all. I would not kidnap. No.
Well, how or like, are you gonna like try to like be the other woman? You're like, even though I gave birth to your baby, you have to marry me now, and like,
I think if I'm 50, I think the only thing I could get away with is hoping someone divorces and I'm just younger.
You'll be the Camilla.
Exactly. I'll be the Camilla at that point. But no, I get to meet the royal family. I think that'd be pretty cool. I could say, I mean, I'm sure there's like, I mean, there's HIPAA, so I can't say like I delivered a royal baby today, but like I could be like, no, I can't say anything. Like, I really can't break HIPAA. That probably so like it's probably so illegal to the point of even like it's already illegal to like, you have to keep patient confidentiality. But then on top of that, like even if I said a person with high, like I think it'd be even worse because it's like the royal family, but there's extra like non-disclosures that like you can't say. But I would know in my heart of hearts that I delivered that baby. And then, you know what? Later on in life, when they're like 20, I don't know, and I'm like old and dying, I can be like, I delivered Prince so-and-so.
Do you know what I was just thinking? I feel like you could do like, okay, you're a midwife, but then also as your side hustle, you're like a baby photographer, and you like photographs the babies you just like pulled out of the womb.
I mean, my mom was a baby photographer at one point for a little bit, like in the hospitals.
Oh, really? Like,
Yeah,
that's so
my mom's
cool.
actually done that, funnily enough. Like, it's kind of funny you brought that up because, like, my mom used to do that in the hospital that I was born at, just as, like, a little bit of, like, a side hustle when I was younger. She used to do that, but then she stopped because babies are, like, newborn babies can be very cute or they can look like weird potato sacks.
Mhm.
Like, they're definitely, sometimes some babies need to grow into their baby look. They don't always, like, newborns, which is fine, because newborns, I mean, they go through a process, like, you know, C-section or not like, either way, they're going through a bit of a process, and they're still probably, like, there's a lot of developing outside that they still need to do. So I definitely think, I mean, some babies are very cute, and obviously you're going to think your baby is cute, and that's amazing. Like, you should think your baby is cute. But, like, some babies need a little bit of time to grow into the baby look.
No, definitely. And I'm on the baby TikTok like side of TikTok. Like I see all the cute little babies, and like I just like I love them.
Okay, do you know, like, baby, I think, is it Baby Fred? No.
Franklin.
Baby Franklin. I
Oh my
love
God,
Baby Franklin.
me too. And I'm obsessed with the family because, like, okay, I'm pretty sure it's Franklin, Grant, and like some other like presidential name. And I'm like, oh my God, that is so cute. Like,
Oh my
all
God,
the babies are like named after presidents. Well, which I think is unintentional, but it's so cute.
You totally would name, like, kids like that. Like, I know you would.
I know. I like would like all my baby names are usually kind of like weird and quirky. I have like a Google Doc. Because one day I probably will end up marrying like some sort of like maybe Civil War reenactor or a history professor. Like that is my dream, man. And like of course we're gonna do some sort of historical baby name. Like that's just gonna happen.
I very much support you on this, as long as it's not your triplet name that you want to do. I cannot for the life of me support you on this.
So I have this like, this is okay. I feel like it's kind of little, people are gonna be like, Libby, are you okay? But I always have this weird fantasy that I have triplet boys and I name them John, Wilkes, and Booth. Like that's each of their first names after the assassinator of President Lincoln. And I don't know, it just came to me one day and I was like, that's kind of cute. I think the name Wilkes is so cute. Like that's the cutest name I've ever heard. And like John's a classic and Booth is just so unique.
I'll give you John and Wilkes. Like, I think John and Wilkes, and then people would go, was it after him? You can kind of like go like, oh no, I liked the name.
Yeah, it's
like,
a family name.
You can shake it off and people will be like, oh, okay. Booth? Who wants that kid is going to be like, you know, made fun of Booth for a name?
Okay, what if his name's like Buford? I call him like Booth, even like, you know, that doesn't really match, but like, what if?
I mean, I'll give you, sure, Buford, and you can say it's Phineas and Ferb.
Oh my God.
It's okay. You know, I mean, girls, here's the thing. I like, and this is like a thing I've had with names. Name your baby the full name and then give them the nickname.
100%,
I really hate nickname for full names because it like it literally limits the amount. Like the whole point of a nickname is it's so fun to like, you know, for little kids to like come up with it and like, you know, kind of, it's like it's a way for them to kind of create their own identity and like, you know, it's just fun and it feels, I don't know, but I hate like, I'm not gonna lie, I really don't like Meghan and Harry for naming their kid Archie. Like,
yeah, it should be like Arthur and call him Archie.
No, I think they were gonna go for Archibald, and then.
Oh yes, that makes more sense.
I'm filming a podcast.
For what?
For fun.
Okay. Can you pause on that for a second?
Why?
I need to talk to you about the student loan.
All right, give me 1 minute. We're gonna.
Yeah, no worries.
I'm going to pause this.
Wait, can I just say one more
Go
thing
for
about
it. You know
nicknames?
what? Go for it.
Oh, so as someone who goes by a nickname but has a formal name, my real name is Elizabeth, but I strictly go by Libby. Like if people try to call me Elizabeth besides like doctors or like teachers on the first day, I get very uncomfortable. And like I do not go by Lizzie or Liz unless you are like my close knit family. It's only Libby. And I get like if people I know in like England it's a popular thing to like have Libby just as like your like formal name and like legal name, but like I'm like nope, it's Elizabeth. Libby is just a shortening of that. But Libby is me.
Yeah.
Not Elizabeth. I'm Libby.
I know. I can't, like, I just give the kid, don't give a nickname to a kid. It literally limits their, like, you know, the exploration. Like, just
Mhm.
give them a good real name. But anyway, let's see. What should we? Oh, should we do like? Let's talk about the segments that we want to have like weekly.
All right. Okay.
So we want to do a little bit, just like some weekly like updates. So I have a dog. Her name is Honey. I'm hoping maybe I can pull up a picture of her in the video. I'll try to. She's a Bichon Frise. She is a total princess. She sleeps on pillows on top of our couch. She gets belly rubs all the time, and she knows the sound of a carrot bag. Like, open the fridge, rustle the piece of plastic, and like you'll look to your left, and she's like appeared.
So cute. I feel like Honey's also like sassy. Like sometimes like she'll like look at like Georgia and just be like, like
Yeah, she has looks. She'll look at you and like, or like I squish her a lot, and she'll look at my mom and have the most like kill me now looks on her face. So I'll give weekly updates about her. And my brother Grayson, he's a high schooler. I have to actually go pick up and get his textbooks today because he's online as well because of the pandemic.
hashtag high school life.
You know, so I will give updates on him, or well, both of them. The dog currently needs a groom. That's the update for her.
And then I have a sister, and I'm, well, as you know, a twin, and she's a music major, and so our house has been very musical and noisy lately, and like maybe once a week I'll just like drop in, see how she's doing. She's really funny, and like we have a lot of like mishaps because like she will be singing opera while I'm in like my art history class, and like things like that happen.
See, Grayson's in he's taking Harley, so he's taking 2 science classes this year. He's taking bio and chemistry, which is funny to me because last year I took biochem as like a class. Funny. So I'm like, I can help him. You know, will he let me help him? That's one thing. But can I? Yes. I offer my services. I've been so bored recently because I've been on top of all my homework. And like, I'm like, Grayson, can I do your homework with you? And he's like, no. I was like, please, I'm bored. You literally get someone to do your homework for you, and you say no?
Sucker.
Anyway, and then the second thing, well, then there's also our book updates, because I feel like we're going to be talking a lot about literature, book opinions, you know.
Yes.
Especially about romance novels.
So me and Georgia are huge readers, but mostly of the romantic genre, Kindle Unlimited, 99-cent one kind.
You know, like the ones you get at a dollar store with like the shirtless like Fabio guy.
Yes, 100%. Like impeccable taste we have. And Georgia probably read maybe like pushing 100 like the books maybe this summer of those. Like,
give me a minute, let me see. I will pull up my Kindle Unlimited book thing. I mean, I've also reread some books. Some books I just come across and they're so good that like I just reread them. Or like my current thing to do is keep like a book from an author that I like, just so that I can access that author quicker and like look at their work easy. I mean, you can follow authors, which I do, but yeah. Let me see. How many books have I read recently? My reading insights. Kindle Unlimited says I have completed 80 books.
That's
As of when I got it.
incredible. I completed, okay, as of right now, according to my reading challenge on Goodreads, I have completed 52 books. Now, granted, this is from January till now, and a lot of them are like real books. Well, not real books, but like some of them are like traditionally published books. But no, Georgia, she can like whip like 2 out a day. It's like amazing.
I could probably whip out 4 if I'm really trying. Like, because that being said, I'm really not trying. Like, these are like my light reads that I'm just bored and I'm like, what do I do? I'll read. Especially because I gotta keep up with my Wattpad and my webtoons and my Inkit books. So like, I could read full books on Kindle Unlimited in a day if I sat down. That being said, I'm probably not going to, especially because I like to let my books sit sometimes, and let myself, take in the books and whatnot. So we're gonna do.
George, I have something to tell you.
What?
I spent $12 on Galatea.
You did not! I told you no!
I did. I know. I went into peer pressure. Like, I was just like, I had to finish this book because I just had to.
No, I cannot believe you spent $12 on Galatea. I told you it's not worth it. What was this book on? Which one was it?
So it was on Inkit. And so there was, and like, it was one of my favorite books on Inkit, but it was never like finished. It like got up to like chapter like 16, and then like she was like, oh, it's on Galatea, blah blah blah. But then I wanted to reread those 16 chapters, but then there's only 2 chapters on Inkit when I checked, and then she's like, oh, sorry, I have to put like all of it on Galatea now. So I'm like, okay, I need to read it on Galatea. And like, honestly, I am disappointed.
I told you, I knew it would be changed. Believe me, every time a book goes on Galatea, it gets changed. It is not the book that you read originally.
So for our viewers out there, do you want to kind of explain what Galatea is?
All right, I will explain Galatea. Okay, so Galatea, there's this writing, if you've ever heard of Wattpad, where like you can share stories, Inkit is a very similar like place. However, Inkit's a bit more, we like Inkit, it's a little bit cleaner. Typically the books have a lot
no
more
ads.
No ads. Very little grammar mistakes. I think the great thing about Inkit is because they have Galatea, and like you can actually buy published books on Inkit. I think that's where they make their money. So like you never get ads on there. So Galatea is an app from Inkit where it's kind of like I guess I could describe it as like a heightened reading experience. So like you kind of tap through the readings, and they add like effects and music to really get you like as if like you're like borderline like either in the book. Like it's trying to give you as much of an experience about what is going on and really heighten your reading. So like if there's text messages, you'll read them like it won't look like you're reading a text message on like a page. Like it looks like a text box like when you're texting on your phone. Like they're really trying to heighten your experience. Inkit though, it costs money to have like Galatea, you can read 1 chapter per book per day, free, and then at 7:00 each day, you'll re-get it. So like if you read a book at like 12:00 at night, if you read a chapter in a book 12:00 at night, you only have to wait 7 hours till the next chapter updates. Or let's say you read that chapter at 7, and then like you read the next chapter at 7:01, then you have to wait the next 24 hours until it's 7 again. It's a very interesting premise.
I hate that because it's like, why is 7 like the one like the defining time? Like that's so weird.
I don't know, but if you want to read ahead, you can read ahead. You just have to pay like money to get tamales, I think it is, or like peppers, chilies.
I didn't. It's like a food.
Oh no, never mind. Sorry, I just realized it's not. So you get like points. I think it's points.
Yeah.
And then those points. No, I'm thinking they'll have in some of the chapters, they'll have like a little like pepper on how spicy it is.
That's for the spicy.
I like know right how spicy it is. never trust their spicy ratings.
No, I 100% agree. I'm like, this is not spicy. Like, I can't feel the spice. Not spicy.
I know. It's, or like, I'll read like a spice, like they don't understand like what spice is, and like they're like, ooh, spicy, and you're like, it's like, I mean, I guess, but then like it cuts halfway. It's not really spicy. Like,
No, literally, like, okay, I like did not realize, like, so all the books with the spices, I thought that was just like the personal author being like, oh, just so you know, spice.
no, it is Galatea, I think, goes through that. But so my issue
I
though
was a
was,
schmuck and paid money.
yeah, 'cause-
And I was like shocked, like there were grammar mistakes and like some like, and especially like there were two characters which like they kept being confused, like it was like, and I was like, wait, like why is this character in the room? But and I realized like it was just like an error, like they did the wrong name, and like it was like a fantasy like royalty like
what
story.
book
And
was it?
it's called some, wait, let me bring it up. It's something about roses. It's like the royal it's called Survival of the Rose.
Okay.
It's about this girl who is the bastard princess, but like her father, who's a king, always loved her, but like because she was a bastard, like the real queen does not like her, and then her father dies, and the queen is trying to like kill her. And then so her father, before he died, writes a letter to like this neighboring like kingdom being like, someone needs to come and rescue my daughter. And so like this like king from the kingdom comes and rescues her. But then like she's like, this girl's trying to get murdered. But it's like pretty, I mean, I really loved it on Inked. But then I was so disappointed because turns out it's supposed to be a trilogy. But I don't know when the next books are coming out because it ends on like a cliffhanger. And like I was disappointed, but I'm glad I did read it.
Okay, I'm glad you
even though I
can
didn't
say
pay
you've read it, but yeah, don't do it. My biggest issue is with Galatea. If you ever see a book on Inkit and it's also on Galatea, if the full book is still on Inkit, I recommend you read it because once it goes to Galatea, it will change. Like, so I love this book. It was called The Millennium Wolves. And I read it was actually originally a short story on Inkit for this larger series, but I guess Inkit decided like we're going to start with this book and call it like the first book, even though it was more like a prequel. So I found out about it through Galatea, but I looked on Inkit and I found the story was still on Inkit at the back in it was like 2 years ago. So I read it on Inkit and it was a good book. I liked it on Inkit. I thought it was enjoyable, but then it went on Galatea and I wanted to reread it and I wanted to see what if anything was different, and I wanted to read this heightened reading experience. So I did. And it wasn't the same book. It wasn't the same book. It was a different book. And then on top of that, the story was supposed to end with the two leads getting together, and that was that. But it kept going. And then they brought in, I won't spoil much if people really want to read it, but let's just say what was supposed to be a happily ever after turned into a love triangle at one point. And it wasn't good. And then I recently re-got Inkit because I was going to read Undressed by the King because that was a book I also read on Inkit, and I loved it. It was so good. The world building was phenomenal. So I was going to reread it. But then I also saw this other author who I like. I think she's Kelly Lord on Inkit. She wrote a book called My Sexy Step Werebear.
Oh, yeah, I know. I'm familiar.
Yeah, My Sexy Stepbrother, the Werebear. It's something like that. And I had read this book again. I actually read this book on Inkit first. I didn't even find out about it through Galatea. I read it on Inkit first. And again, I loved the book. I thought it was great. I read it on Galatea thinking I knew it would be changed, but I didn't know how much it would be changed. So I was expecting to see some differences. It changed completely. It is a different book, like, the two main characters were supposed to get together within, like, the first 3 chapters of the book, and then it was, like, this whole of, like, uncomfiness, and then they figure out, they're like, oh, great, we can be together, and then it's, like, overcoming other obstacles. I think a gator at one point, like a gator shifter is at one point in there.
Interesting.
It's interesting, but, like, essentially that book is kind of setting up the rest of her, like, world. Because
Was this
she
like a prequel or something?
No, this was the first book.
Oh, okay.
So this was the first book. And it kind of sets up this, like, not like mythical, but like this town where
Wait, did
shifters
she
live.
also write the one where it's like loved by the pack and it's like
Yes.
okay, because I read that one, and then like the bear people are in that book,
Yes.
and like
No,
okay.
Pleasured by the Pack.
Yes.
I read that one too. That was a good book. I recommend it. It's currently still on Inkit, but for what it seems like, it might end up going on Galatea. Because I read it originally on Inkit fully, and then I think she did some editing, but it never.
Yeah.
She made it seem like she was rewriting it. Now, that being said, she did actually make some changes. But overall, the main story is still the same. So I'm not entirely mad about that, but I don't know. I have a feeling it may end up on Galatea because she was re-editing everything, like, very fast. So I feel like if you want to read it now before it goes away.
So I would definitely say my favorite genre, I guess, of paranormal romance is definitely like werewolves or something to do with like soulmates. Like that's like my thing, I guess.
I agree. I think there's a certain level of I'd like to have like people to know that there's someone out there for me.
Yeah.
And like they're the one and I just have to find them. Versus like, I mean, like I get in normal romance, like you figure like it's all about like compatibility and whatnot.
Yeah.
And I get it. I just sometimes I'm a little lazy and I really don't want to have to do the work.
No, yeah. It's just like one day you just want to like make eye contact and be like, boom, soulmates together forever.
My favorite. Like my favorite, like Disney princess is Sleeping Beauty, because I literally want to be woken up by like Who Loves Kiss and knowing I'm getting happily ever after at that point. I know I've seen the things of the after is not always good. I know, but like. I just want to believe that I can sleep until true love's kiss.
That's so interesting. I actually never really connected that, like, like Sleeping Beauty and like soulmates and like, cause like it's like, yeah, like, and like kind of like I know you. I met with you once upon a dream. Like you're the one from my dream, kind of.
Yeah, I mean, I mean the original fairy tale. So the original fairy tale in French from Madame Villeneuve. What happened? Well, okay, so there's a couple different tales. There's one where she ends up getting cursed. She sleeps for 100 years, and then like a prince who's, I don't know. He ends up like 100 years happens. He gets there and he wakes her up, and like, boom, he's like king of a kingdom essentially. Some have the mother of the king being an ogre. The Charles Perrault version is woof. Charles Perrault Perrault's actually might be the good one. There's one option. I don't remember which one. But essentially, so she's trapped. A king of another kingdom finds her, rapes her while she's sleeping, impregnates her, and then she wakes up, not from him kissing her, but because her baby sucks out the splinter in her finger, thus taking the curse out of her and waking her up. That's how she wakes up. Like, I want to know, I mean, that's not the original version. People say it is. It's actually not. I've looked it up. It's just a version that was spread around.
Educate yourself, people. Don't believe everything you hear.
Yeah, no, but the one that the Brothers Grimm have taken is the one where she sleeps. She gets, like, 16th birthday, breaks her finger, sleeps, wakes up, ba-boom. I mean, I like the one, though, with the ogre. The ogre adds a little bit of, like, extra zhuzh.
Yeah.
Sometimes the ogre also goes with the king. One, like, the one with the king who, like, impregnates Sleeping Beauty. Like, that one occasionally has an ogre tale, I've noticed, too. Like, with the mom, there's an ogre, and she wants to eat Sleeping Beauty and her kids. Or, oh, no, actually, no. It's, in the one with the babies, the wife of the king is so mad, she wants to kill Sleeping Beauty and then eat her heart, I think it is.
Oh, wait, so is in that one Sleeping Beauty, like, the mistress? Yeah. Oh, my God.
But it's not her fault, it's the king's fault.
Yeah.
Like,
No, yeah, she was asleep.
no, don't be that, don't be that guy.
We are not a fan of non-con here. No, thank you.
No. So, I love Sleeping Beauty. But, so we're going to get back to this our reading updates. So, like, books, so this whole update is, because, again, we like to read our novels, so we're going to update. Have we finished any books? Are we still reading any books? Do we like any, like, an update on our weekly things? Most likely, I will have a new book or two each week, because I'm just that person.
Jordan might have, like, 5.
I mean, actually, no, you're right. I might have 5. I have read like 6 in a week at one point when I was really bored. So currently, and we talked about this last night. So I have finished 2 books. I finished 1 book, and then I half read another book before I got annoyed. And then I skipped to the end and to see how bad it was, and I was glad I skipped. So I read. Oh, you know what? All right. Coke Zero bottle fall. So I'll
Zero,
say,
the peak of all sodas.
yes. So I'll say what I've read so far. So I read the one that I skipped. So I originally was reading His Human Surrogate, which is a part of the Monsters Love Curvy Girls book series.
Oh, yeah, I think I've seen that before.
Yeah, it's by Michelle Mills. I read the first book, and I didn't think it was too bad. Like, it was okay. I wasn't the biggest fan.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think she knows how to write plus-size women exactly. I mean, I've already talked about, I have some opinions. She's written out these girls to have, like, plump arms. And you know what? Power to you if you like your plump arms. I've just never, to me, it's a little uncomfy because I don't even think about my arms. Like, like that, I don't feel like do people find arms sexy? Like, I want to know, do, like, people find arms sexy?
I mean, some people really are into, like, the arm muscles, but, like, I feel like usually arms aren't the first place to go, like, when you're like, ooh, like, they got nice arms.
I mean, I guess, like, with that whole, like, flexy thing, and, like, with guys, like, ooh, biceps, triceps, like, ooh, but, like, I don't know, I don't think girls have ever been like, yes. I mean, if they can do this, and they're like, ooh, I think, like, that, like, power to you, but, like, I don't know, I've never thought of plump arms as hot. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. It just, like, I think, like, it's, like, representation in romance novels is so important. And I love a plus-size, a main female protagonist. But I just don't like it when, like, authors, like, fixate so much on, like, her body and, like, they describe it too much in detail. Because, like, it could be, like, I don't know, triggering if people, like, have, like, body dysmorphia. Or it can just, like, it's just, like, we want to know about, like, the story and the plot. Like, I feel like people who focus too much on the way the character looks, it just, in general, it's just, like, okay, we don't really need to know. We can come up with that in our mind. We're not dumb.
Yeah, like, there's a certain level of give us some, like, if there are key features that need to be talked about, especially, like, I love my good alien stories. So, like, I can understand on a certain level if you need to point out, like, hey, their ears look different than a human's ears, like, to help a visual image. Like,
Mhm.
I understand. You do want to describe at least how you're picturing this character and like giving your audience and like readers a good visual description of how they look, but let a little bit be up to interpretation. Let people fill in the blanks in places. And once again, plump arms. I can't. You know what? Like, thick thighs have been a little bit like, I think thighs are a bit more, not they're like sexy, but I feel like people have talked about thick thighs more than like plump arms. I've just never seen plump arms.
Yeah. How odd.
Yeah, but then the other reason I was like a little bit in this book is because this guy said it's his friend who was she became a surrogate to pay off her sister's dowry. So sorry if I'm like spoiling too much for people who do want to read this, but I have to admit I'm a little bit uncomfy with this whole situation. So spoilers ahead, skip ahead if you want to like, not listen to me talk about it. But so she ends up finding out. So she thinks she's carrying like his like like an embryo of like two. This is also alien, so like he's a different alien species. So she thinks she's carrying like a full alien species. She thinks that this baby, like, it's genetically not hers. Like the egg got implanted into her, and she thought it was like half his and half someone else's. Only to find out, no. It is his and hers, and he didn't tell her until she was like almost done with her pregnancy. And then like I just expected her to be happy with it and to be like, okay with it. And like he even like he's like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't think, I was stupid. And it's like, but she wasn't consenting to having a baby. She was consenting to being I hate to say this, but kind
An
of
oven.
An incubator. Like she was consenting and very willing to help grow that baby and provide nourishment and nutrients for it. But she was consenting to giving her own DNA. And like, I also, again, I have questions on how she did not think about the like
where they getting the egg from?
I know, but like no, but like insemination and in vitro are very different things. Mm-hmm. And like I think if she had consented to it being, she was still donating an egg and she was just getting inseminated, but she gave the baby to him after, like I feel like that just could have been something. And then like I thought that's how the plot was going to go originally, where she was giving an egg and but like she understood that like she's not gonna, even though it's genetically hers, she's not gonna have any claim on the baby, and it was just gonna be that. But that's not how it worked. Like it was not. She thought she was carrying like someone else's baby, and that she finds out it's not. And again, I don't understand, like how were her eggs retrieved without her knowledge? Like it's a process that's painful, and it's like many injections and whatnot. I have like insemination, like yes, you actually do need to, like, there are things you have to take just to make sure. Usually they'll also like try and get multiple eggs released, so that way like the like in insemination, like an egg or like a lot of eggs can be caught, not like caught, but like will be released, and then like things will happen. Like it is a process. It's not exactly that like the exact same, but it's a lot. It's not as invasive as in vitro is. It still is. It's just not as.
As a nursing student, Georgia gets very heated about medical accuracy in these books.
I know. I very much, as someone who's like writing a little bit of her own book, I will admit I think one of my biggest things is medical inaccuracies in books, as well as
like genetic and like DNA stuff, especially with like aliens. Like it's like.
Yeah,
interesting.
I don't think people think it through. They think it's not, like, I think fantasy, you can explain it away with magic, but sci-fi is not something that you should be explaining away with, like, magic. Like, I get it. It's so hard to, like, think about, like, a future. Like, we don't know what's going to be in the future and, like, the technologies that we'll have. But I definitely think, like, people need to be putting like a little bit more thought into sci-fi. But then I will also update on my second book because this was like a weird book. It was like trying to mix fantasy and sci-fi together. It was called Alien Dragons Spawn. I know, I really should have. That title really says a lot. It's by Lizzie Beckwen, I think. It's part of the Dragons of Arcturus series. I know this author. I've read her books in the past. I like her books. This book was a little bit of a... I have questions. Again, biologically, but also just like I have too many opinions. I'm not going to go into it, but I read that book fully. And it was kind of trying to mix sci-fi and fantasy because there's like dragons in this book, but they're like an alien dragon race.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, the physics and biology, the whole thing, honestly, Lizzie, I love you. I think you've done other really, really great books and great world building. This was just not it. You know what? I would have preferred a series on your books about that book about the robot AI system.
Interesting.
Wait, let me pull up that book because that book was
So
good.
she leans hard into like the sci-fi.
Yeah, she definitely does. Okay, this book, I think it's called Machine. I say if you want to make a series out of that or like develop on like AI, I'm into it. It was interesting to read. It was a very short book, but it was very good. I liked it. I'd like to read more about it. Like just the whole thing. I would be much preferable than the dragon one. Yes. So what did you read, Libby?
So in the past week, Georgia actually, like, I got inspired and I wanted to read some Omegaverse stuff. And so she introduced me to this great series by Catherine Moon, and it's called The Sweet Omegaverse. And I read all three that are currently in the series, which is Baby and the Late Night Howlers is book 1, and then there's Lola and the Millionaires Part 1 and Part 2. And honestly, they're phenomenal. I think I gave Baby a 5 stars of Goodreads, Lola Part 1 4 stars, and Lola Part 2 5 stars. So good. Like, I can't get over it.
I love that series. I'm so glad you read it because I think I remember recommending it to you at like in Simmons, and you're like, "Oh, I'll maybe take a look." You were like very unsure about it, but like I knew what I was recommending to you. Like I had a feeling. Like, it's definitely one of those, like, if you're going to dip your toe into the Omegaverse, like, it's a good book to dip your toe into. Mm-hmm. I think I like that her characters are very well-rounded. I like Baby as a character. I think she's mature. She's an adult.
Yes. She's 26.
26, yeah.
That was one thing me and Georgia were actually talking about earlier, is like in romance novels, if like the girl's like 18, it's and like 19, and then like she gets thrust into like this, like meets her soulmates right away, it's kind of like she's still a child. Like she hasn't developed her full personality and like her identity yet. But I feel like when she's like older, she's like has a career and like an established like life, it's like, okay, this makes more sense, you know, like she can find her soulmates or like her life partner now.
Exactly. I definitely liked that. I think Catherine Moon is a very, very good writer. I think my next week I'll probably update. She has a new series coming out about a princess and magic.
Oh, I think I saw that. Yeah.
So I think I'm going to take a look at that and see how that one is. So
maybe we'll read it together.
You know what? Maybe we will, and then we can update each other on our opinions. But I'm very excited to read that. So I'm definitely glad that you liked the Sweetverse. I was very that was how I dipped my toe into Omegaverse, and I loved it so much. Like I like her representation in her reading. Like everyone's adults, and there's like the characters are different, and they're like different either like ethnicities or ages. And you definitely you have to be open to bisexuality to like these.
No, I was actually gonna bring that up too. Like I think like she does represent a lot of like male characters who are bisexual, and I think that's really great. And because I feel especially in like romance, you don't always like see that. I feel like you never really see bisexuality represented in like romance a lot, and I think it's an important thing, and like representation of all sexualities I think is so important.
Definitely. I was very
and also like femininity and like masculinity and how it's like fluid, and like men can be feminine and like women can be masculine, and how like I really like how she explores that.
I did too. I think my next hope is that we get a lead character who explores bisexuality, because I feel like we oftentimes we're getting like Baby. I mean, it's all men, and like she has like female friends, but like it's all men.
Yeah.
Same with Lola. I felt like again, like the main characters didn't explore that, but like the side characters and like the guys were. So I'm definitely like, I loved it. I love reading about relationships like that. But I'd love to see a female exploring sexuality. I mean, I will say I was glad though that it was men who were, because I feel like bisexual women are like, I feel like are a lot more accepted than bisexual,
especially in like TV shows and stuff. I feel like
or like even just in like the media, I've noticed like some guys who like are like, they talk about like people don't believe me when I say I'm bisexual, and like I think
Harry Styles and stuff.
Yeah, so I think it was a nice sort of thing to explore. But I really would like to see a woman.
No, I agree. And I find it so interesting because like I used to be all about like soulmates. There's only one person for one other person, but recently in like when I read romance, I'm really fascinated with like the idea of like the reverse harem, where it's like one girl and like multiple men. I know, I find that like really fascinating, and like I also think like, and well, in my family, one of our favorite shows is Sister Wives on TLC, and it's because like we're just very fascinated by like the idea of like plural marriage and relationships, and I don't know, I find it so interesting and so fascinating, and like I think it shows that like love is beautiful no matter how many forms it comes in, and like how like I guess like traditional like monogamy, like it's not like, it doesn't have to be like this at the center of every romance story, Yeah,
I definitely agree. I think I like these. Not to say, I don't think these books are the most ideal things to show polyamory. I've noticed, I'm sure people out there who are like polyamorous are probably like, that's not how our relationships work.
Yeah, definitely.
Please. Because it sounds like these explore definitely things like, it's not just like, these are like literally like, y'all are together, like even in like bed all together. Like some of these books explore like are like that, whereas like people who are polyamorous are probably like, nope, that's not, we don't know.
Yeah.
And so I definitely understand, like I definitely think these aren't the best, but I definitely think it's nice to read these and kind of, I agree, explore that like love is not just like, between like two people. You can love multiple people. I think it's interesting though to kind of explore like in these books like some of the bond, like how, like to me at least, like these characters, like they all seem to like work together. Like they might not be romantically attracted at all, but are like very accepting of being in the like being around the other people they're not romantically involved to, while still being romantically involved to like that one person. I think especially Lola was definitely like her character was, it was very, because like there's like four, like it was like, okay, so it was like Rakeem, Leo, Cyrus, and Caleb, all kind of like they all kind of were very not like all together. Cyrus was only really connected to Rakim and Lola, but like
Yeah.
Caleb had it all going. He got everybody.
Yeah. Yeah, and then it was Wes, right? And then who's the French one? Mateus?
Yeah, Mateus.
Or
Mateus.
like who were like they were like in the pack where they were like almost just like friends and like they both like fell for Lola. But like also for some reason like Mateus and Wes ended up being my two favorite guys in the book.
I will admit, I think they were too.
And I also did like Leo, but definitely like Wes and Mateus were my favorite.
Yeah, no, I think okay. I liked seeing. I felt bad, honestly. I have to admit, I think I just felt bad for Wes and Mateus because
okay, Wes, like, oh, I loved, because he's like the whole thing of his story is like he's kind of like on the outskirts and like he's like so basically like they're all kind of celebrities. Like, is it Rakim? Is that the model's name?
Wait, no, who? What?
Who's like the Omega model in the one?
Oh yes, that's Rakim.
And so like Wes is like his like I guess they're like childhood best friends or something. And like so Wes is the bodyguard and like he's like everyone's protector, but like he never like really has like any like relationships. He's more quiet and reserved. And like when Lola joins the pack as like one of the betas, like she kind of like it's like, oh, you deserve as much as attention as everyone else. Like you're so awesome. And like and she kind of like brings him back and like makes him a little more like social and he like feel more included, which I thought that was a good storyline.
Yeah, I did too. Sorry, I'm just texting Grayson is like I'm sorry, I'm just texting I have Grayson, I have to go pick him up.
Is he at school?
Yeah, no, not now. I have to at 2:15. I just had to text and make sure we leave. So we're good. We're good on time. Okay. We're still anyway. Sorry, I had to see that text. So I definitely. Wait, what were we saying? Like, oh yeah, Wes. He's outside it. Like, I don't know. I just genuinely, I have to admit, not to say that I just felt bad for them because like they literally like they were kind of the guys that like I feel like they had to share. They have to like it's a lot more sharing for them because like she's their only person from what it seems like, and like they're not adding anybody else to the pack. So like she's kind of like their only like she's their only like love interest, you know, she's their only partner. But like she has to share with like Caleb and like she still also they have to share her with like Caleb and Cyrus and Rakim and like but like they all have these like Rakim can go with Cyrus or Caleb or Leo and like you know they're kind of all together and like and then she's with them as well.
Yeah.
I don't know. I sometimes I feel bad for them. I feel like they might end up like I always felt like we were getting a little bit snubbed I think Mateus got a lot of attention in the books, which I was very happy about. I felt bad for Wes. Wes was
like you didn't really like even see Wes, I feel like a lot until like book 2 as a character as well. Like
you saw him once in book 1 because he talked about picking Lola up from her bad situation. And then that was it. And, like, maybe you hear about him. But he was, like, kind of like, And then, like, you got one chapter where him and Lola were, like, doing the do. And I was like... and then that was, like, it. And, like, you'd hear, like, occasionally, like, Mateus and him are talking. But, like, that was it. I don't know. I felt like they were a little bit... Like, as characters, I thought they were a little bit more snubbed. Yeah, those are just, like, I felt like, I don't know, I feel like Baby had a bit more of a better balance with some of her.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I still felt bad for, like, Bullet and Green. I felt like they themselves were, I mean, I've just realized we can make, like, similarities. Like, Bullet and Green are, like, the Mateus and the Wes of, like...
No, they definitely are.
Like, they kind of really... Wow, because, like, Green is like the older guy. He runs his own business. He's kind of quiet, reserved. And Mateus is the same thing. And then And then no, it's not Caleb. Who's Bull? And then so then Bullet is like the same thing because he's like the protector guy in security. What does Wes do? He also runs a security company. And
isn't it funny? Because isn't it one of the books like Wes is like, oh, like Bullet, you should come work for my company. Doesn't he say that once in the book?
It does. I think
it's so funny.
So you know what? I've just drawn parallels and like, you know, because like Cyrus, no. Well, Cyrus is kind of like. No, Cyrus doesn't have an equivalent. Caleb kind of.
Oh, and then Leo is like, what? Who's the guy with the leather jacket?
Bomber.
Yeah, like they're basically the same person.
Yeah, they are. I mean, yeah, there's definitely no equivalent for Cyrus because, like, I mean, I love Tornado in books.
Oh, me too.
I like that it's like two alphas. Like, it's not just like, you know, like they can like each other as well. Like, it's not. Dynamics are not as much an issue for love, so I'm into that. But I was definitely, I think I ended up giving, so for the overall series, I'd probably give it like 4. Honestly, it's just a solid 4. It's just a solid 4 to me. I felt like some characters were snubbed. I think my biggest issue with that book, though, was Baby's representation in Lola. Like, I felt like Baby wasn't, I was not, the Baby from the book, Baby in the Late Night Hours, and the Baby in Lola and the Billionaires, were 2 different babies. Like,
no, I feel like that too. Like they made her a little more ditzy in Lola's books.
Yeah, and I was just not the biggest fan. One of my complaints I put on the review for the part 2, if you can find my review, is I think I just think Baby was like, she was ditzy and like she was just like apparently like always like doing the do with like all her like all the guy like they had this one point where the betas are like 3, 2, and then like she's gone. She's like, I'll see you later. Like and like her friend right now is going through a hard time. I don't know. To me at least, like it's not like she's unsupportive. She definitely is supportive and is there for her friend emotionally. But I just felt like she could have been a bit more. I felt like they could have written her out. Like she would have been like, "No, I'm here for you."
Yeah.
And you know, or like she's like, "I'm gonna." Like I don't know. I feel like they could have written her out. She seemed a little. I didn't like that. I just didn't like how she was written in Lola, and I felt like she could have like. I wish she had introduced her to the betas more, maybe did the things with Lola and like I don't know. I also have some biological questions with Lola. She's kind of written out like an Omega. I'm sorry, she's just kind of written out. She's like an Omega, but they don't want to. The whole thing is like she's supposed to be like, no, I'm a beta and I'm accepting like life as a beta. I would have preferred her just. Okay, I'm gonna be honest. I would have maybe liked to read about her just joining an all beta pack.
Oh no, I think that would have been good too. Like
that, I think that could have been cool, and I think it would have shown a lot more her learning about like,
acceptance and like
of being a beta.
Mm-hmm.
So those are my opinions on it. What else? Because we got a couple more minutes before I have to go.
Do you want to share like some of our like tea or like unpopular opinions or?
You know what? Let's do it. We're gonna end on unpopular opinions and talk about those. How about you go first? Because you have one a bit more. Mine was on the fly. I forgot to come up with one this week.
Well, I just thought about this morning, but my unpopular opinion, or whatever we're calling it, is that Snapchat is overrated. I hate Snapchat. Well, I do, but I don't. And I understand that, like, it's, like, a way of, like, communicating with people, and I think all sorts of communication is good, but, like, streaks make me so nervous, and, like, I've lost, like, 100-day streaks with people all the time, and, like, so I don't even do streaks anymore, because I just can't, I can't keep up with it. And then the one thing I hate in group chats is that, like, you can see when someone's reading while you're typing, like, and you see their little faces, like the Bitmoji, like this, and I hate it because it's like, oh my god, stop watching me type.
You know,
I get so nervous.
I completely agree with you. I mean, I like Snapchat to like post on my story a bit more. I'm not a big Instagram poster. I feel like Instagram is a very formal place to post. Like,
Yeah, definitely.
if we're talking like, all right, Snapchat is your casual everyday wear. Instagram is like semi-formal, like we're dressing up nice and whatever. And then black tie formal is Facebook. That's my tier list on how things look.
Yeah.
Like, Facebook is, because Facebook is where my family sees me. So I have to look really nice on Facebook, except for all my mom's photos where I look like trash.
That's where you post like prom pictures and like first day of school pictures.
Yes.
And stuff.
Yes. Like that's like old family memories. I look good mostly. My mom sometimes no, but I'm gonna move on. People don't look at my mom's Facebook all the time. You know, my Instagram is like my area, so that's kind of like that's like semi-formal. Like, oh, I'll post it if I'm in a selfie with a friend or whatever, especially on their story. It's cool. Like, if I'm not looking the best, it's whatever. It's 24 hours on that story, and that's over with. But like on my feed, that's a bit more permanent. I want to look nice in general, just in case the boy follows me on my Insta. I have to make sure that I look good. But Snapchat's like, most of the people who follow me on Snapchat are like my friends. So I'm not worried about who's seeing me and what they're seeing. So like that's my everyday posting. Well, not everyday, like activity posting area. So like fun photos of what I'm doing, where I'm going. That ends up on Snapchat. I like that, but I have to agree. I think the bubbles of people, it makes me need to like, I feel like I need to type faster, and I'm like,
me too. I feel like that too. It's like when someone's typing the same time as you, you're like, I need to get mine first.
No, it makes me so nervous. I'm like, apparently I can't type fast enough. And I agree, streaks, why do we have streaks? Why are streaks a thing? I don't like.
And like also who, like, you know how like on Snapchat you get like points, but like does anyone even care about those points? So like they don't mean anything. Like
they don't. I don't. I agree. I think it's a little overrated. I like it, but a little overrated. All right. Yeah. My unpopular opinion, which you might end up disagreeing with me on, because my unpopular opinion is that okay. It's not like it is popular in some places, but like probably where we live, it's not like the most popular. I love Chick-fil-A, and I just want to eat Chick-fil-A sometimes, and I know it's a bad cause, but I understand supporting it, but I just want Chick-fil-A.
Okay. I mean, there is like one Chick-fil-A in the mall near me, and that's it. And like, granted, one person, in 5th grade, this girl in my class, kindergarten, not 5th grade, when I was 5, a girl in my class had her birthday party at Build-A-Bear, and then afterwards we went to Chick-fil-A. And I have the greatest memories. And the chicken is good. I am a chicken person. Like, I do not like hamburgers. I mean, I do, but I don't. I like beef, so I like chicken. Mm-hmm. But like, okay. It's really hard. I feel like a lot of companies do not support good causes or causes that people might not agree with. And I think it's hard to be a consumer these days because so many like corporations like aren't doing stuff for the greater good. But I feel like fast food is like what's most affordable, you know, and like you can't be too picky about like affordability, I guess.
Yeah, I feel that because Chick-fil-A is probably the most like talked about that has like controversial like opinions because I think they are run by like evangelicals, right?
Yeah, and like they're closed on Sundays because like Sunday's like the Sabbath.
Yeah, so like I'm definitely, you know, I understand like it's probably the most like I'm trying to replace it with Wendy's. I know Wendy's isn't good either. They supported money to Trump, and then after they're like, to make up for it, we'll donate money to Black Lives Matter. Yeah, that's a good idea. But like,
so I'm pretty sure Taco Bell donates to like Republicans, and like also like I hate all political parties. Just so everyone knows, I'm an independent. I'm unenrolled.
I'm very much like, it's just sometimes, like, I don't get it a lot, but like when I do get it, it hits good and I just want to eat it. Like, I love it.
Yeah. And like, as long as you're living a life where like you do support LGBTQ plus community and stuff like that, like I think in the end, it doesn't really matter where you're giving money to, because like it's already a multi-million-dollar corporation, you know what I mean? Or like business. Like, I think getting like a $5 chicken nugget thing is not gonna make or break the bank for them.
Yeah, it's someone else. So, yeah. All right, I think that'll be it for today.
All right. Well, I hope this kind of gave everyone a piece of like what our friendship is like and what stuff we're gonna be talking about.
Yes, I think next week I'm thinking we talk about romance tropes that we do and don't like. I think that should be our topic of discussion.
Sounds good.
All right. I hope everybody enjoyed, and we will. Well, okay, let me see. I'm posting it next Friday. So I guess, well, you guys will see it. So we'll see you next week.
All right. So bye from Libby.
Bye from Georgia. Oh, I had the ash card. Bye.